Okay, as you know, when Randy is here, we start out with the his gathering song. We join in on the chorus, which is, "Here's to you, my love, with blessings from above."
Yeah, get into that line. Think of someone, look at someone.
Look at someone, hand towards them.
Dead or alive, here or there, in the room, in the White House.
Randy, something that I've started doing, the last line on that is, "May your day begin." Okay, I've started saying, "May your day be great." Because then you can do it any time during the day. Otherwise, it's kind of a morning thing. So it's like, okay, may permission, may your day be great.
Here's to the babies in a brand new world. Here's to the beauty in the stars. Here's to the travelers on the open road. And here's to the dreamers in the bars. Here's to the teachers in the crowded room. Here's to the workers in the field. Here's to the preachers of the sacred word. Here's to the drivers at the wheel. Here's to you, my love, with blessings from above, let the day begin. Here's to you, my love, with blessings from above, let the day begin. Here's to the doctors in their healing work. Here's to the loved ones in their care. Here's to the strangers on the street tonight. And here's to the lonely everywhere. Here's to you, my love, with blessings from above, let the day begin. Here's to you, my love, with blessings from above, let the day begin. Here's to the wisdom from the mouths of babes. Here's to the lions in the cage. Here's to the struggles in the silent war. Here's to the closing of the age. Here's to you, my love, with blessings from above, let the day begin. Here's to you, my love, with blessings from above, let the day begin. Here's to you, my love, with blessings from above, let the day begin. Here's to you, my love, with blessings from above, let the day begin. Let the day start.
Thank you, Randy. That's always such a really cool way to get started. I really appreciate it. Well, welcome everybody. Yes, I realize today with the sunshine and everything, it would be a horrible temptation to play hooky. And looking out there, it appears to me that a few have. Can't say I necessarily blame them, but for us that are here, welcome. So very, very glad to see you all. And at this point, I'm going to light the Christ candle. And as always, this is done strictly to be a visual reminder of the Christ light that is within all of us at all points in time. And today I would especially appreciate the idea if all of you kind of keep in mind towards the Christ light. It sprung a leak last week. It started coming out the back. Yeah, so I've had to kind of cattywampus it this morning and going to have to be figuring out what to do with it. It burns funny. It's like no candle I've ever had before. So it sprung a leak in the back and went down all over. Yes. So we're sending some Christ light to the Christ light. That's probably a little convoluted, isn't it? And now I'm going to ask Georgie if she will please do our opening prayer. Oh, and just so everybody is aware of the fact, today Rev Georgie is with us.
Oh, yes.
Minor detail of kind of screwing that up, and you probably noticed Randy's here too.
Oh, thank you, Judy. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Let's just take a moment and close our eyes and take that idea about blessings from above as we begin our time together. Sweet Spirit, we know that each one of us is here because we have been guided here. You have tapped us upon our shoulder and said, this is where we need to be this morning. And so we become open and receptive to the beauty and the wonder and the gifts that are for us today. In this place, in this gathering, in this sacred, sacred place. Thank you, sweet Spirit, for the opportunity to be here this morning. Amen.
Thank you, Georgie.
You're welcome.
And now we're going to do a congregational song, and the words for it are in your bulletin, and it's "This Little Light of Mine." So if you'd like to stand up and bounce around with it, you're welcome to. If you want to sit down and stay put, that's okay. It's kind of however you'd like to do it. Right, Randy?
Why not?
Why not? Well, that was a lot of enthusiasm, wasn't it?
A little technical difficulties here. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. And everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All up in my house, I'm gonna let it shine. All up in my house, I'm gonna let it shine. All up in my house, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Here we go, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine.
Okay. Good job. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, now's the time when I remind you of the prayer box. That's right here. You will find prayer request forms on the back of all the pews. So if you have one you'd like to fill out, please, by all means, do. And you can put them in the bowls when they come around. You can bring them and put them up here. You can put them in the prayer corner back there. However you want to do it, we make sure that they're all collected and they all go in here. And next Sunday is the last Sunday of the month, so at that point in time, Nellie will be collecting them to send them back to Silent Unity, where they're prayed over for an additional 30 days in the Silent Silent Unity Chapel. Boy. Okay. John, do you have any announcements? Okay, John's going to do announcements. Yeah. Because the last time I asked him, I got one of those, huh?
I'm going to ad-lib it.
Oh.
Okay. This is probably the prettiest day we've had so far yet this year, which probably accounts for our light crowd because, among other things, I've been told this is Earth Day, which means we're supposed to go out and get dirty or talk dirty or something. I'm not sure what. And also, I want to remind everybody, Lorena is down at Ocean Unity today. So I suspect some of our people are down there standing with her, and I know we are all standing with her. So there's that. Next week, Reverend Susan Doran. Now, if you haven't heard Susan before.
Cheryl's next week.
Who? Oh, that's Fifth Sunday. I lost it. That's Fifth Sunday next week. Oh.
That's why we write it down.
Well, ignore everything that was. Next week is our Fifth Sunday service. Cheryl Hockaday and the McMinnvilleites have been putting on the thing. They're going to do the whole deal. So I'll get to sit in a corner somewhere, and that'll be good. They've been wanting me to sit in the corner for a long time. So Cheryl Hockaday next week.
Yes.
And then we will not have Susan Dorn the next week. We will have Gene Celia.
That's right.
Now I got that straight.
Yes.
Then I guess I blew it enough. I'm done.
Well, Fifth Sundays do tend to be confusing. Okay, and it's time for the Daily Word, and I've asked Blythe to read that today. But also I wanted to let you know the new ones for May and June are here, and they're already out there. So anybody that would like to pick one of these up, they are $3 if you get them here. And also any of the March or April ones that are left out there, if you don't have one or you need an extra one, you're welcome to just take it. So, wanted to tell you about both of those. And now Blythe is going to come tell us about Earth Day, I think.
Yeah, Earth Day, Earth Blessing.
Yes.
Earthy sense of humor. I live in harmony with the earth. In 2004, Wangari Maatai was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for her work in Kenya through the Green Belt movement. In her acceptance lecture, she said, "We are called to assist the earth to heal her wounds and in the process heal our own. Indeed, to embrace the whole creation in all its diversity, beauty, and wonder. I am part of a beautiful web of life, intricately woven so that my actions impact the entire web. I am a good steward of the earth's resources, as I am a good steward of my own body. Centered in divine wisdom, I use what I need in ways that support the renewal of the earth. I experience a sense of peace, living in harmony with the earth. The earth brought forth vegetation, plants yielding seeds of every kind, and trees of every kind bearing fruit with the seed in it. And God saw that it was good." Genesis 1:12.
Thank you, Blythe. Yeah, appreciate that. And now Randy is going to present some music for us. Right, Randy?
Well, I certainly am.
Okay, thank you.
Sometimes, the loudest messages come in the quietest ways. This is kind of a quiet day. What if there was no noise in the Big Bang? And the word God only sang. Only frightened minds fail. Could serenity lie on this side of the veil? Maybe there is no story to understand, only an endless poem from the master's hand. And our own mystery is a perfect plan, an eternal fountain shifting in the sand. Touch the soul of a raindrop in the hot summer sun. Hear the laughter of the children when they're having fun. Watch the death of a caterpillar on her way. Know the passion of a flower on a quiet day. There's peace at the heart of all creation. Peace that defies examination. Truth beyond opinion and the news of the day. Peace as silent as grace at play. Touch the soul of a raindrop in the hot summer sun. Hear the laughter of the children, oh, while they're having fun. And watch the death of a caterpillar on her way. Know the passion of a flower on a quiet day. Know the passion of a flower on a quiet day.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you, Randy. That was lovely.
And now it's my pleasure to turn it over to you.
Thank you. That's why I'm here. I think. Good morning, everyone. Good to see you. Good to see you. And of course, it is Earth Day, and I'm not going to talk about Earth Day. Okay? In fact, my message title, as you see in the bulletin, is The Nature of the Quest. You know, sometimes I come up with a title, and then a little later on I'll say, and just exactly what do you think you're going to say about that, Georgie? You know? So I go to Webster. You know, it kind of gives me that little bit of a jump start. So a quest, according to Webster, is an act of seeking. It's to search or to seek for. And I think we're all on a quest of one kind or another. You know, the Olympics just finished here a couple of months ago or a month ago. And those people, those athletes, they were on a quest for the gold or the medals. But they're not going to stay on that quest all of their life in that way. So our quest changes as we mature and as we move through life. Jesus had a quest. His teachings were to assist us in the evolution of our understanding, our spiritual understanding, our understanding of the universe, etc., that God is a loving parent. He called God Abba, or father, trying to shift the consciousness of the day that believed in a punitive God who was so vigilant that he was always watching up there in the sky to see if we were following all of those many, many rules that we thought he wanted us to follow. So bring it down and get it into a context of their reference point. Okay? They know what a parent is. They know what a loving parent is. So we'll try that analogy and see if that works. Then stretch it out a little bit further and help us understand we are one with God. We are one with God. And, that's not too big of a stretch because we know we're one with our parents. I mean, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. And they're joining. And then the third part of this teaching, I believe, this quest that he had, was that there is no death, that life is eternal. Embedded into that three-pronged goal, there were many teachings that he offered us to assist with the process of this evolving of our understanding. He taught us about the need to forgive and how important that was. He taught us to cherish and to support others. And he taught us that we are love. Now I'm going to get back to that idea in just a little bit, that we are love, that our very nature is love. And exactly what does that look like? So, do you all know what your quest is? Do you know, can you title it? If so, do you know what the nature of your quest is? Are you coming up here? I can see what your quest is, to get up here with me. I believe that our quest is much more than just looking for a new job or a relationship or something like that. It's a lot more sacred. I believe that our quest is God-given and God-driven. For myself, when I went back to Unity Village, to ministerial school, which was in 1991, Spirit told me very clearly that my quest was my wholeness. Now, I wasn't too sure exactly what that meant or how that was going to turn out, but that's what I was told. My quest was my wholeness. So now school has changed. Ministerial school has changed extremely much since I went back in 91 to 93. But when I went back, it started in July, and we had probably 40 classmates in our class. They do not do great big classes like that anymore, but there was about 40 of them. He'll entertain you as if you get bored with what I'm saying, just go ahead and watch Orion, okay? He'll keep you laughing and he'll keep your heart open, and it isn't that what it's all about anyhow? So my words don't mean nearly as much as that beautiful animal there and his antics. So that first week of school, to get back to this story, that first week of school, they had us gathering together, not in classes, but to get to know each other a little bit, to bond, to icebreakers, that kind of thing. And with 40, you can imagine a circle that filled the entire room. Well, I don't remember most of the things that we did, but this particular one I do remember because I was uncomfortable. The facilitator said, okay, today we're going to share what you would like your classmates to remember you by. Okay? And all I could hear was my quest was my wholeness. Okay? So the people started out and somebody said, well, I've got a great sense of humor, so I hope that they remember me by my sense of humor. And somebody else said, well, I'm a pretty good musician. I sing, I play the guitar. I hope they remember me for my music. And so around it went. Now I'm getting kind of uncomfortable because all I could hear was my quest is my wholeness, okay? And I thought, okay, God, do you really want me to say that? That's not what everybody else is saying. So comparison came up for me, like right away. But when it came to me, I said, I hope my classmates will remember that my quest is my wholeness. And then it went on. Now, I'm quite sure none of those classmates remember that at all. But I do, because I was kind of uncomfortable. I remember one time Lorena was speaking from the pulpit, and I think it was at Unity of Salem, but I could be wrong on that. And she said, comparison is death. And you know, it kind of is a little bit when we start comparing ourselves to others, either what their quest is, or how they dress, or if they're tall or thin, or whatever it might be. It's just not healthy. So it's kind of a little death. So I was a little bit uncomfortable at that time. I have found for myself that the nature of my quest has changed. It has evolved, and definitely so since I retired. It seems to have spiraled in a little bit of a different way. When I first started in Unity, before I even went to Unity's village to become a minister, I started a Unity of Beaverton. And at that time, the Course in Miracles was really, really hot. And they probably had 6 or 7 groups going all throughout the week. You know, and so I didn't even know what in the world the Course in Miracles was. And so I did figure that out. Once I figured that out, I decided I would go ahead and get the book, and I would join one of the groups. And so I did. I studied the course for a couple of years at that time. And it really is a teaching that burrows its way down deep inside of you and stays with you, which it has for me for over 30 years, you know. Even I did not continue to study it after that first 2 years, but I always had my Course in Miracles book, and things would pop out of my mouth or into my mind as a quote from the Course. And then about 3 months ago, I guess, I had a dream, and the dream was very much telling me it was time for me to go back and begin the whole process over again. And so I did. I got up that morning, I took my book off the bookshelf, and I opened it up, and I read the first couple of paragraphs, and you know, it was like welcoming a dear old friend that I hadn't seen for quite a while. I knew it was still there, but I had not had relationship, connection with that old friend. And so of course, I have continued, and every morning now I do my Course of Miracles as well. When I started back there in Unity of Beaverton, and that would have been in the late 80s, and I started the course, my daughter was 25 years old. I have a daughter and a son, and Tammy was 25 years old. And so I told her about this class, or this group that I was part of, and I said, you could join us, Tam, if you would like to. And she said, well, let me see the book, Mom. Well, any of you who know what the Course in Miracles looks like, the page just before the text says, this is a required course. Only the time you take it is up to you. Okay, this is a 25-year-old girl. Close that book. I don't think so, Mom. And she handed it back to me, okay? And that's fine. You know, we move in these directions when it is time for us to do so. So 6 months ago, forward 30 years or so, I got a text one day, and she said, Mom, this is from Tammy, my daughter. She said, Mom, she said, I'm studying the Course in Miracles. I said, well, how about that? So I texted back, and I said, that's wonderful, Tammy. It'll change your life. Well, in the next instant, the phone rang. How? How is it going to change my life? And I said, I don't know, Tammy, but won't it be fun to watch and figure out how it's going to change your life? And you know it has. It really has. Tammy's been a very controlling person in her life. She's got some issues that have kind of built up this control of everything. And I'm just seeing that just kind of melt away and a softening. You know, and I do get calls like, now, Mom, let's talk about this. Now, it says this. Now, exactly what does that mean? And pretty soon I'd say, Tammy, don't overthink it. Just do the lessons. Don't overthink it. Just you'll accept it by osmosis. It's okay. And so she has done that, and I've just watched this kind of melting process of all that control in her life, and it's just beautiful. You know, sometimes I think we have a little spiritual time capsule inside of ourselves. It's a time release capsule, and when the time is right, it opens up, and that is the time that we begin to turn away from the dictates of the ego, and we begin to ask ourselves, is there a better way to live my life? And that, of course, is the exact statement or question that the university professor, Bill Thetford, asked his colleague, Helen Schuckman, after a particularly quarrelsome faculty meeting. There must be a better way, Bill said. And that statement was the opening of this time capsule inside of this Jewish agnostic woman, Helen, and Jesus began to dictate A Course in Miracles every night to her. And so she started just taking the dictation, and then every morning she would go in to Bill's office and shut the door. They were both university professors, and there was no way they were going to let the rest of those people know what they were doing. Turn over the dictation to Bill, and he transcribed it for her, and 7 years later, the Course in Miracles was done and complete. Took that long. I recently heard a story of a young teenager. He's quite a bright young man. He's in high school, but he's also quite agnostic too, and he thinks that when you die, that's it. You're gone. There's nothing else, okay? So one of his teachers gave a class assignment that they had to write an essay, but did not tell them what on. And so he decided he was going to write on the eclipse and his experience of the eclipse. Just a second. And so he had watched the eclipse in a big field with a lot of people and family members and friends and that sort of stuff. And so he started his essay, and he started writing, and he got 2 paragraphs done, because what he said in these 2 paragraphs, that with everybody in the field and the eclipse happening and everything, all he could feel was disappointment. Disappointment. And so he wrote those 2 paragraphs, and then he was stuck. Now, this is quite a bright young man, and an essay just flows out of him on anything, and he was stuck. So he took it to his mom, and he said, would you read these 2 paragraphs and kind of maybe give me an idea where I might go from here? You know, and so she read them, and she said, well, I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't have an idea. Are you sure you picked the right topic? And he said, yes, I have to write about this. And she said, then if you have to write about this, it's tucked inside of you. Just go back to your computer, and it'll come forth. 3 days later, he brought out the finished essay, and he said, I have to turn it in today. I thought maybe you would like to read it before I turned it in, and of course she said yes. In his process of searching out the cause of the disappointment, he realized it had nothing to do with the people that were there. It had nothing to do with the big field they were in. It had nothing to do with the eclipse itself. It was located inside of himself. And he realized that he had a pattern of all of his life of diverting from anything that would make him uncomfortable. He also realized that this understanding that was coming to him about himself would call forth more situations like that, where he would have an opportunity to choose. Am I going to divert from this, or am I going to feel my feelings? He ended his paper by saying, this is the end of me. This is the end of me. He was wise enough to know that the me that he had known all of his life up to that point, and I think he's about 16, 17 years old, okay, that this new understanding that was helping him to emerge from this cocoon where he has been, this new expression of himself from that introspection, helped him to realize that he would never be the same person as he was before that realization. Because we can't unknow something. Once we know it, we can't unknow it. And so when he said, "This is the end of me," he realized that he would never again be the same person that he was before he wrote that essay paper. Now, all I can say to that is, wow. At 17 years old, I know that I was not thinking like that at all. Okay, not at all. So, I don't know what Spirit has in mind for this young man, but I think it is quite wonderful. Okay, I want to get back to Jesus' teachings that I said I would, it's, I am love. We are love. You are love, Judy. Randy, you are love. Every one of us in here, according to Jesus, according to Spirit, according to our teachings, we are love. So I thought about that, and I thought, well, exactly what does that look like? I mean, I know that I am Georgie. I know what Georgie's preferences are. I know what she likes to eat, what she likes to wear, how she shows up in the world. But if I unzip me and step out of the persona of Georgie and I say, okay, in truth I am love, how does love look? How does love show up in the world? There's a woman by the name of Glenda Green. She painted a picture called The Lamb and the Lion. Some of you probably know that picture. I've had one in my office for years and years and years. And Jesus came and, in a holographic way, I'm sure, she dialogued with him and he sat for the painting. So the books that she wrote then about their dialogue is called Love Without End. And in here, of course, he talks about the fact that we are love. And I found a couple of places where I'm kind of nibbling away at this, where one that I think is kind of a definition, and another place where he's talking about how love shows up in the trenches. And so I want to share that with you this morning. And this is what he says about, and I think this is kind of a definition of it. He said, once love has become your choice as well as your nature, all potential for duality is erased from your life, and you are given command. And then he went on to say, you must understand, however, that when I speak of love in this way, I am not referring to an emotion of sweetness, a feeling of affection, or a sentiment. Often these are simply positive responses to personal attachments. The love I speak of is a function, a power, a purity of intent, and the core honesty of all that is. The core honesty of all it is. Any subject about which you can be utterly honest, including your own involvement, is a subject for which you have great love. When love is master, decency and honesty are brought to the world of structure. And then over here he talks about love in the trenches. Now I want to share this with you a little bit. He said, in the trenches, love is knowing that your very presence makes a difference. Let's stop there for just a moment. Your very presence makes a difference. We got up this morning, all of us, got out of bed, we got dressed, we ate breakfast, maybe, if that's what we do, and we made a decision. We made a decision to come to this spiritual community and be part of this spiritual energy field this morning. I made that decision. Randy made it to be here. Judy and John, who keep everything all together, they made that too. We didn't come up to the front door and change our mind and walk away. We came in and we began to set the energy field. Randy opened the door and he started music right away. That began to set this energy field. Everybody who is here today, okay, has contributed to the sanctity, to the sacredness of who we are in this room right now. Now, if there were 100 more people here, that would be the truth too. It doesn't matter how many or how few. It only matters that we show up in the truth of our being as who we are, truly, with love and with gratitude to be there. And he goes on to say that in the trenches, it often means standing firm in the midst of chaos with patient conviction that you hold a piece of the unfolding puzzle. So you are in the right place at the right time. Always. Always. If not, you'd be someplace else. And that would be the right place at the right time, wouldn't it? So he goes on to say, love is a businessman who persists with dedication and clarity through many years of sleepless nights, of high demands upon low budgets, until a solution appears. Love is a devoted and a patient mother who never ceases in her vigilance to heal and redirect her restless, troubled child. There was such a mother who tried attention, affection, scolding, corrective education, and counseling, but nothing external worked. Never giving up, she went so far as to consider placing the child in her brother's family, giving her son a new start. And then one night, as she prayed and meditated upon that final possibility, a startling revelation came to her. She saw that she was part of both the problem and the solution. To separate herself out would be to deny a vital connection they both needed. Refreshed from her realization and a good night's sleep, she awakened her son the next morning with a soul-to-soul hug, unlike anything they had shared since his infancy. The healing began. So it's that showing up as who we are, always open and receptive to what's mine to do here, dear God. You know, I find myself in this place. I am love. How do I show up? What words would you speak through me? None at all? That's okay. I will just be here, knowing that I am love, and knowing that everyone else in this room, in this situation, in this country, in this world, is love also. And to the best of my ability, I'm going to see them as love. I'm going to stop making a judgment about their behavior and deciding that they are their behavior. I'm going to realize that in truth, they're no different than I am. They are love also. Now, I'm going to close this in a little different way, because I'm going to take it right where it is right now, and I'm going to pull it into the meditation. Because I have a story I'm going to use for the meditation. Could be that John and Blythe have heard the story already, but it's a wonderful story, and I believe it exemplifies exactly what I'm saying. Randy, if you want to just some little tinkle the keys there. Doesn't have to be too fancy. So let me prepare you first, because I don't want to truncate you from where I was energetically. So let's just take time to close our eyes if that's comfortable. If it's comfortable to put your feet on solid on the ground, that's fine. And if it's not, that's okay. Whatever's comfortable. Let's take a deep breath. And now let go of it. Feel your body just kind of slump and relax. Let your tummy go soft. Okay, let's try one more deep breath. Breathing in. Let it go. Now just check yourself out. Make sure you're fully in your body. And just rest while I share this wonderful story from a different drum. There is a story, perhaps a myth, typical of mythical stories. It has many versions. Also typical, the source of the version I am about to tell is obscure. I cannot remember whether I heard it or read it or where or when. Furthermore, I do not even know the distortions I myself have made in it. All I know for certain is that this version came to me with a title. It's called The Rabbi's Gift. The story concerns a monastery that had fallen upon hard times. Once a great order, as a result of waves of anti-monastic persecution in the 17th and the 18th centuries, and the rise of secularism in the 19th, all its branch houses were lost, and it had become decimated to the extent that there were only 5 monks left in the decaying mother house, the abbot and 4 others, all over 70 in age. Clearly, it was a dying order. In the deep woods surrounding the monastery, there was a little hut that a rabbi from a nearby town occasionally used for a hermitage. Through their many years of prayer and contemplation, the old monks had become a bit psychic, so they could always sense when the rabbi was in his hermitage. "The rabbi is in the woods. The rabbi is in the woods again," they would whisper to each other. As he agonized over the imminent death of his order, it occurred to the abbot at one such time to visit the hermitage and ask the rabbi if by some possible chance he could offer any advice that might save the monastery. The rabbi welcomed the abbot at his hut, but when the abbot explained the purpose of his visit, the rabbi could only commiserate with him. "I know how it is," he exclaimed. "The spirit has gone out of the people. It's the same in my town. Almost no one comes to the synagogue anymore." So the old abbot and the old rabbi wept together. And then they read parts of the Torah and quietly spoke about deep things. The time came when the abbot had to leave, and they embraced each other. "Oh, it's been a wonderful thing that we should meet after all of these years," the abbot said. "But I have still failed in my purpose for coming here. Is there nothing you can tell me? No piece of advice that you can give me that would help me save my dying order?" "No, I am sorry," the rabbi responded. "I have no advice to give. The only thing that I can tell you is that the Messiah is one of you." When the abbot returned to the monastery, his fellow monks gathered around him to ask, "Well, what did the rabbi say?" "Oh, he couldn't help," the abbot answered. "We just wept and read the Torah together. The only thing he did say, just as I was leaving, it was something cryptic, was that the Messiah is one of us. I don't know what he meant. In the days and the weeks, the months that followed, the old monks pondered this, and they wondered whether there was any possible significance to the rabbi's words. The Messiah is one of us? Could he possibly have meant one of us monks here at the monastery? If that's the case, which one? Do you suppose he meant the abbot? Oh, yes. If he meant anyone, he probably meant Father Abbot. He's been our leader for more than a generation. On the other hand, he might have meant Brother Thomas. Certainly, Brother Thomas is a holy, holy man. Everyone knows that Thomas is a man of light. Certainly, he could not have meant Brother Eldred. Eldred gets crotchety at times. But come to think of it, even though he is a thorn in people's sides, when you look back on it, Eldred is virtually always right. Often, very right. Maybe the rabbi did mean Brother Eldred. Oh, but surely not Brother Philip. Philip is so passive, he's a real nobody. But then, almost mysteriously, he has a gift for somehow always being there when you need him. He just magically appears by your side. Maybe Philip is the Messiah. Of course, the rabbi didn't mean me. He couldn't possibly have meant me. I'm just an ordinary person. And yet, supposing he did, suppose I am the Messiah. Oh God, not me. I couldn't be that much for you. Could I? As they contemplated in this manner, the old monks began to treat each other with extraordinary respect, on the off chance that one among them just might be the Messiah. And on the off chance that each monk himself might be the Messiah, they began to treat themselves with extraordinary respect. Because the forest in which it was situated was so beautiful, it so happened that the people still occasionally came to visit the monastery, to picnic on its tiny lawn, to wander along some of its paths, even now and then to go into the dilapidated chapel to meditate. And as they did so, without even being conscious of it, they sensed this aura of extraordinary respect that now began to surround the 5 old monks and seemed to radiate out from them and permeate the atmosphere of the place. There was something strangely attractive, even compelling about it. Hardly knowing why, they began to come back to the monastery more frequently to picnic, to play, and to pray. They began to bring their friends to show them this special place, and their friends brought their friends. And then it happened that some of the younger men who came to visit the monastery started to talk more and more with the old monks. And after a while, one asked if he could join them. And then another, and then another. So within a few years, the monastery had once again become a thriving order, thanks to the rabbi's gift, a vibrant center of light and spirituality in the realm. Now just take just a moment to let that sink in. Just a moment tuck it inside your heart so that you will remember the Rabbi's gift. So as you look around your family, you look around your church, you look around your city, you can say, you can ask in truth, is that one the Messiah? And then you can say, could it be me? Could I be the Messiah? Oh God, could it be me? And now just take a nice deep breath. Become aware of the seat that you are sitting upon. And when you are ready, you may open your eyes.